Day. I was sitting in the garden of my new house. Everything was quiet. Then I saw her. My mother. She was standing right in front of me. And she wasn't alone. There were a few men with her. Big, unfamiliar. The kind you can look at and instantly tell. They're not here to talk. They started walking toward me. I just stood there. Because in that moment, there was only one question in my head. Why is she here? Then she looked at me. And gave a small smile. That same smile. The one I trusted for years. "Sweetheart," she said softly. I didn't respond. "What are you planning to do with this house?" She looked around, like it already belonged to her. Then she said, "You don't have anyone anymore. Just put this house in my name." That was it. No hesitation. No shame. Just entitlement. In that moment, I didn't feel anything new. 'Cause honestly, this wasn't new to me. She had always been like this. This time, she just wasn't hiding it anymore. I looked straight into her eyes and said, "No." My voice was quiet, clear. "This house is mine. I'm not giving it to anyone." A few seconds, just silence. Then her face changed. Slowly, the smile disappeared. And in its place, that same cold anger I'd been afraid of since I was a kid. But this time, I didn't step back. The next second, turned, and without saying a word, walked straight into the house. Like she had every right. Like she always had. And the men with her started moving toward me. One of them raised his hand, like he was about to grab me. In that moment, yes, there was fear, but there was something else too. Maybe years of built-up anger. And then, something happened. They didn't expect. The door slammed shut, hard. And in that exact moment, everything changed. Because behind that door, I wasn't alone. My name is Nora Ellison. I'm 34 years old. And if you've ever felt like you don't matter in your own home, then you'll understand what I'm about to say. Because none of this started today. Started a long time ago. My mother, or the woman I thought was my mother, had a habit. She claimed everything that was mine. First, small things. My choices, my preferences, my decisions, everything. And the strangest part was, she did it like she was doing it for me. "I'm doing this for your own good." If you've ever heard that line, you know what it really means. Slowly, I started disappearing from my own life. On days like Christmas, the house would be full of lights, people sitting together. But me, I was always separate. There was always one empty chair. And it was mine. But no one ever asked. Maybe because they didn't care. Then Daniel came into my life. For the first time, someone actually saw me. He listened. He asked what I liked. He understood me. For him, it felt like I mattered. Like I was enough for someone. But he didn't stay long. And after he left, everything went empty again. And in that emptiness, my mother came back into my life. But this time, something was different. She wasn't ignoring me anymore. She was watching me. My work, my money, everything I had. Like suddenly, she wanted all of it. That's when I made a decision. No more. Bought that house. For myself. For my peace. Thought, this time things would be different. But I was wrong. 'Cause some people stay away until you have something they can take from you. And then, that day came, when my mother stood at the gate of my new house. Not alone. And this time, she wasn't here to see me. But the truth is, this story didn't start that day. It started long before that. When I was losing myself a little more every single day. After Daniel left, there was this emptiness in my life. The kind that doesn't just sit in a room. It echoes inside your chest. I'd wake up in the morning. No good morning. Go to bed at night. No one asking if I was okay. And you know what the hardest part was? Pretending I was fine. If you've ever cried alone, and then forced yourself to smile the next morning, you understand. That's when the calls started. From her. First once a week. Then every other day. Then every day. Are you okay? How are you managing all by yourself? You need someone. Her voice sounded concerned. Or at least, that's what it felt like. And maybe, I was so broken at that point, that I believed it. She started visiting me. Sitting there, looking around, quietly, like she was counting something. First she commented on my food. You're not eating properly. Then my work. If you keep working like this, you'll burn out. And my money. You need to be careful with your expenses. The time felt like care. Because when you're alone, you can't always tell the difference between care and control. But slowly, something started to shift. And this time, felt it. She started interfering in everything. My decisions, my plans, even who I met. You need to be more mature. You need to take life seriously. Sounds right. But when someone starts speaking on every single part of your life, it's not concern anymore. It's control. One day, she came over, and without asking, she opened my closet, started going through my things, even my papers. I just stood there watching. Then I asked, "What are you doing?" She didn't even stop, just said casually, "I'm helping you." That day, for the first time, I understood clearly. This wasn't help. This was intrusion. But still, I said nothing. Why? 'Cause I was tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of explaining. Tired of proving myself. Sometimes, you go quiet, because you have nothing left in you. Then one day, she asked me, "Have you thought about your future?" I said, "Yeah. I'm planning to buy a new house." That was it. That moment, I looked into her eyes. And this time, I saw something clearly. It wasn't happiness. It was greed. After that day, everything changed. Her calls increased. Her visits increased. Her tone changed. She wasn't asking anymore. She was trying to know where my money was, what I was buying, where I was investing. And that's when I realized she wasn't concerned about me. She was scanning my life. And in that moment, I made a decision. This time, I wasn't going to lose myself. I started planning quietly, without telling anyone. I looked at locations, checked properties, understood the legal process, and then found that house, away from the city, quiet, isolated. For the first time, felt like a place that was truly mine. Bought it, without telling her, because this time, I didn't want to share my life with anyone. The night I moved in, closed the door, and just stood there. For a few seconds, no noise, no interference, no fear. And in that moment, I realized I was safe. Thought it was finally over. But I was wrong. 'Cause some people forget about you until they need you again. And she needed me. Or more accurately, she needed that house. Then one day, my phone rang. Unknown number. Answered. Few seconds, silence. Voice. You really think you've disappeared? My hands went cold. 'Cause that voice, I knew it. For a few seconds, I couldn't say anything. All I could hear was my breathing. Then I asked quietly, "How did you get my number?" On the other side, there was a soft laugh. That same laugh. The one that used to comfort me. Felt different. Finding a number isn't hard, she said. You just need the intention. Something tightened inside me. Because I knew. She wasn't just talking about a number. What do you want? Asked directly. This time, my voice was steady. A few seconds of silence. Very softly. I want to see you. That was it. But the way she said, "see you," there was something about it. That wasn't normal. Don't come here. I said immediately. This time my voice was sharper. I'm fine. I don't need anyone. We'll see. And the call ended. The phone was still in my hand. But now, my fingers were shaking. Because that wasn't just a call. It was a warning. That night, I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. Every small sound felt louder than it should. The wind outside sounded like footsteps. A creak in the wood felt like someone at the door. And for the first time, I felt afraid in my own house. Morning came. Everything looked normal, like nothing had happened. I told myself, nothing's going to happen. She's just trying to scare you. But somewhere inside, I knew this wasn't over. Around noon, I was sitting in the garden. The sun was soft, the air was cool, and for a moment, I thought maybe I was overthinking. Heard cars. I looked up. One SUV, then another. They pulled up right in front of my gate. In that moment, my heart slammed in my chest. Because this time, it wasn't in my head. The first door opened, and she stepped out. My mother. Then the others followed. Strangers. Big. Quiet. But their faces said everything. I stood up slowly. My legs felt heavy. But I didn't move. She walked toward me. Just like before. Like she had nothing to be afraid of. She stopped in front of me. For a few seconds, she just looked at me. She smiled. And in that moment, I knew. She wasn't here to see me. Sweetheart, she said. I stayed silent. What are you planning to do with this house? She looked around, then stepped a little closer. You don't have anyone anymore, she said. What are you going to do with a house this big? And then, the same line. Put it in my name. In that moment, everything became clear. I looked straight into her eyes. Whoa, said. Just one word. But this time, I didn't step back. A few seconds of silence. Her face changed. The smile disappeared. And that same cold anger came back. Think about it, she said quietly. But this time, already had. Ev answered. And just like that, this is where everything began. She turned, and without another word, walked straight into the house. And in that same moment, the men with her started moving toward me. One of them raised his hand. And at that exact second, I took a step back. And the next moment, the door slammed shut, hard. Their expressions changed. 'Cause now, they weren't outside anymore. They thought they had walked in. But in reality, they were exactly where I wanted them to be. The moment the door shut, everything paused. Like even the air stopped. Footsteps echoed inside. My mother, standing in the hallway, looking around, like she had already decided. This house was hers. The men came in behind her. One of them grabbed the door handle. Pulled. It didn't open. He tried again. Harder. Nothing. For the first time, there was a flicker of unease on his face. I spoke calmly. Getting out won't be easy now. My voice was steady. Not afraid. Not this time. My mother turned toward me. The anger in her eyes was clear now. What are you doing, Nora? She said sharply. I didn't answer. I just stood there and tapped my phone screen. The next second, every light in the house turned on. Bright. Sudden. They all blinked. And then, a voice from behind. Hands up. They froze. All of them. My mother slowly turned around. At the other end of the hall, 2 police officers stood there. And with them, another man. In a suit. Watching everything carefully. She looked at me. Like she couldn't understand what was happening. Nora, he said slowly. What is this? For the first time, I looked her in the eyes. Without fear. This is exactly what should have happened a long time ago. The men stepped back. But it was too late. One of the officers moved forward. There's a complaint filed against you. Trespassing. Attempted forced entry. And illegal intimidation. One of the men spoke up. We were called here. By who? The officer asked. Silence. Eyes shifted to my mother. Her face changed. This time, it wasn't anger. She was trapped. Nora, is this what you did? She asked quietly. He nodded. You thought I'd stay silent like always. I took a step forward. But this time, I was ready. The man in the suit stepped in. My lawyer. The documents you have. They're fake, he said calmly. And what you attempted to do here is illegal. She tried to speak, but stopped. 'Cause now, there was nothing left to say. The police moved the men aside. One of them tried to resist, but it didn't last long. Inside the house, everything had changed. Just minutes ago, they were in control. Everything was in mine. I looked at my mother. She was staring at me. For the first time, there was fear in her eyes. You planned all of this, she said slowly. I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I didn't just plan it. I waited for the right moment, and that moment was today. But I didn't know. The biggest truth was still coming. She looked at me, and the next word she said changed my entire life. For a few seconds, there was silence. All eyes were on us. She said quietly, "You're not my daughter." Something inside me stopped, like time just froze. I looked at her. "Rape? What do you mean?" My voice wasn't as strong this time. She didn't laugh, didn't get angry. She just looked tired. "Your real mother," she said slowly. "She died when you were very young." Her words echoed in my head, but she kept going. "Your father brought me into the house. Take care of you." Then she paused. I never saw you as mine. That was it. And suddenly, everything started making sense. That empty chair. The way I was always ignored. The way she claimed everything. That distance. None of it was random. None of it was accidental. All those years, I thought something was wrong with me. That I wasn't enough. But the truth was something else. I was never hers to begin with. Tears filled my eyes. But this time, the pain felt different. This wasn't rejection. This was realization. The police moved in. They put handcuffs on her. She didn't scream. She just kept looking at me. Like for the first time, she was trying to understand me. What I did for myself, she said quietly. I didn't respond. 'Cause now, I didn't need to. They took her outside. The others followed. And just like that, the house went quiet again. That same silence. The one I always wanted. I walked inside slowly. The broken door. Things scattered everywhere. But this time, none of it bothered me. 'Cause for the first time, I didn't lose myself. I looked at myself in the mirror. Something had changed. A lot had changed. And for the first time, I didn't ask myself, am I enough? 'Cause now, I had my answer. I was enough. Always was. I was just surrounded by the wrong people. That night, I was sitting alone. But this time, it didn't feel like loneliness. Felt like peace. And one thing was clear. Some relationships aren't built by blood. And some relationships are meant to break. If you've ever felt like you don't belong in your own home, like you're less than, remember this. You're not the problem. Maybe you're just in the wrong place. If this story felt personal to you, like it, subscribe to the channel. And in the comments, write, "I'm enough." 'Cause sometimes, it's not about reminding the world. It's about reminding yourself. This was my story. But maybe, it was never just mine.